Welcome back to the Agile Soul. In today's session, we're going to talk about the drama triangle and how can we get out of it. A little bit of a history about the triangle. This was a model developed by Stephen Karpman in 1968, published in his paper Fairy Tales and Script Drama Analysis. In this paper, Karpman looks at three fairy tales and identifies the typical roles that are played by the characters throughout the story. And he then maps these three roles to complex human interactions, which he identifies or which he terms as drama. And within this interaction, he also highlights the actions that individuals take based on the role that they are playing within this triangle. So it's usually your role that drives your action. But the triangle does not focus on actions alone. It's mainly focused on the communication that happens between the interaction between these individuals, with special emphasis on what happens when things go wrong. And that's what we're going to look at today. So when I open the triangle itself, it is important to understand what are the characteristics of this drama triangle. So it has three main characteristics. The first one being the want or the need of being right, the constant blame game that happens within these interactions, and the complaining towards the problem rather than solutions. Now, as mentioned before, we have three characters or three roles within the drama triangle, and we're going to take a deeper look into each of the roles. The first role is that of a rescuer. The role of a rescuer within the team is to provide a relief from the complex or the complex situation that they are in, or the problem, let's say. But it is important to understand that as a rescuer, the relief you are providing is only temporary because you are giving the team a solution rather than helping them figure out the solution on their own. And this stems from the need of being needed within your team. So as a rescuer, you will often hear him or her saying, let me help you, let me do this for you, or let's try this solution to the problem. When we have a rescuer, we also have the opposite, the prosecutor. And this role, the prosecutor is usually blaming others for the shortcomings of maybe themselves, of the team itself, with special focus on highlighting the problems only. You will constantly hear the prosecutor say, you should have gone with my idea, or I told you so. And this, of course, as you know, is not the prosecutor as a role is not providing the solution. He's just living within the problem space because that's where the prosecutor feels he or she has the power. And when you put the rescuer and prosecutor together, you are always going to have a clash. And like every fairy tale clash between the hero and the villain, you always have the victims, the citizens, right? And that is what Karpman says is the third role within this triangle, the victim. Here, the victim feels that they are the most affected party of the situation that is there, be it not finishing your project on time, pressure builds on them, not finishing the project up to the expectations, pressure builds on them, any kind of negative situation within the team, they feel responsible and they feel they're the only ones affected. This makes them feel trapped in the situation and very, very powerless because they don't either they don't have the tools or the empowerment to solve it, or they just don't feel like they can. This is why you will hear your team or your victims, this is where you will hear your victims, in this case it could be your team, saying, why us, or why me? Why is this happening to us? There is a way out of this triangle. It is not impossible. Let me just show you how. So let's, of course, flip the triangle. And the new triangle would be the empowerment triangle. And this triangle also has three roles, but with a slight modification to those roles that exist in the drama triangle. The first role would be that of a creator. So the victim in the drama triangle actually becomes the creator in the empowerment triangle. And the creator thrives on ownership. The conversations that they have is, what can we do to get out of this situation? What can we do to solve this problem? And this is the first step towards change. This is the first step towards solution. As much as the creator wants to solve the problem on their own, they need to be empowered. And that's where the coach comes in. The rescuer, who was in the drama triangle, in this situation becomes the coach. As mentioned, focused on empowerment. The coach asks the question, what do you need? The coach provides the necessary tools and asks the right questions to empower the creator to find their own solution. And it is always the case when you have the creator finding their own solution, this solution will last. It is not a temporary solution. It's usually a long-lasting one. But ownership and empowerment can only take you so far. If you remember, we had the third role, which was that of a prosecutor. The prosecutor in this triangle becomes the challenger, where they add positive pressure onto the team, the creators and the coach, to help find the best solution. They provide the support that is needed from experience, from let's say from a leadership perspective, to help say, have you thought about this? Helping the creators get the holistic picture of the situation, making sure they look at all the aspects when thinking of a solution. And here, the challenger's main motivation is learning, is growth, is development, and is call to actions. Not anymore highlighting the problem, but highlighting the need for a solution. The creator here gains the power to choose his or her own solution. The team or the creator here can respond to what they feel is right, and they get to focus on the outcome they believe is correct based on the input provided from the challenger and the coach. And the coach supports, the coach empowers, the coach asks questions and acts as a support system for the team to help them thrive. Now, why is it so important to move out from the drama triangle? Because if you're in the drama triangle for a long time, you will start noticing an unhealthy dependency between the three roles. The victim constantly needing the rescuer to help them, to take or to, as the word says, rescue them from that particular situation. The prosecutor constantly saying, no, this is not the best solution because this will not work. And the pressure that the prosecutor then builds on the victim just makes them feel more and more helpless. The overall dynamic within the team becomes very dull, and you're constantly in this mode of firefighting. There is never a sense of relief or accomplishment because you're always just jumping from one problem to the other. What do we need to do to move away from the drama triangle and into the empowerment triangle? It is important that the change is collective. It's not just a change that the rescuer or the prosecutor or the victim can make alone. It is a collective change that all three need to make at the same time. And you need to come into the empowerment triangle with an open mind. You will see a lot more creativity coming out from your team. The team's productivity also spikes up because there's this whole sense of freedom of working with each other, not feeling the pressure, but the mutual respect that one has for each other. And with this, being in the empowerment triangle makes for a much more mature team, a highly successful team, and a much, much, much happier team. I hope you found this session useful. Thank you so much. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. You can also find me on all of my media handles. Don't forget to check out the Agile Soul website for more articles on various other topics. Thanks so much. Ciao.